The video you're about to watch contains violence and profane language. Please be advised not to watch it with children present.
I dislocated my left shoulder.
A former fighter is speaking out against Harrisonburg Fight Club. Mark Hatter is questioning Streetbeefs' legitimacy. Hatter is known in the mixed martial arts community as Cowboy. He says after being injured during the fight, he was surprised no one from Streetbeefs showed any concern for his well-being.
They really didn't react. They had a big like tractor tire in their yard, and I sat there at that tractor tire for probably 20 minutes. Nobody came up to me, nothing.
Hatter says that was odd because in his past fights with other MMA fight clubs, they've had paramedics at the scene, or at least a first aid kit. And to add insult to injury, he had to drive himself to the emergency room.
Then I started feeling dizzy and loopy and stuff, and my friend had to help me to my car, and then I went to the hospital.
The MMA fighter admits the pain was severe, but he had no idea the seriousness of the damage to his shoulder.
It was dislocated, and they had to put it back in place.
Hatter says what was even worse was the lack of concern for his health by Streetbeefs owner Chris Wilmore. Wilmore never made an offer to help Hatter with medical expenses.
There really wasn't one. Just that he's sorry, hopes to see me back soon.
The fighter said Wilmore was only interested in Hatter's next fight for Streetbeefs. But it was Hatter who reached out to Wilmore, who is also known as Scarface, to start a GoFundMe page to raise money.
Scarface acted like they didn't have no funding at all. So I figured I'd help get funding, because if I wanted to fight there, I didn't want to fight on ground with bare feet and stuff like that. So I figured I'd try to raise money so we could maybe get a cage or a ring, new boxing gloves, mouthpieces for him to hand out to people, because I didn't even have a mouthpiece in my fight. I was wearing Scarface's shorts.
Fighters are required to wear mouth guards according to MMA rules and guidelines. And as it turns out, the GoFundMe page was somewhat a success for Streetbeefs. Hatter was able to raise nearly $600, but he was never informed about how Wilmore used the money.
I transferred the funds to Scarface's email account, and then he pulled them out. He said that he's saving it or something like that.
Allegedly, Streetbeefs is not licensed to hold fights. Hatter's fight is not the only street beef brawl that raised eyebrows in the community.
You ready?
Two women recently strapped on their boxing gloves during a Streetbeefs fight. The problem is hair pulling and pulling on clothing are not permitted in Satan's backyard, according to the Streetbeefs rules and the MMA guidelines.
Okay, no shirt grabbing, no hair
She just
pulling.
pulled my hair again. Keep making excuses, bitch. She pulled my hair. Look.
Okay, listen.
Keep making
Stop.
excuses. What's up?
Just try not to grab shirt. Let's finish.
Wilmore constantly reminded the women of the violations during the fight. But what he doesn't tell them is according to the MMA, the fight is to be scored by 3 judges, and the referee cannot be a judge. He also didn't explain the MMA and the UFC rules require female fighters to wear a chest protector. Despite the constant warnings of not following the rules, it was Wilmore who encouraged the ladies to continue to fight.
Let's rock and roll.
Come on. What's up? Come back up. Come back up, bitch. You want to talk about my dead daughter? Let's go. Let's go. Yeah.
At one point, the fighting was so out of control, Wilmore stepped in again to stop the fight, this time making a strange request, asking one of the women to drop the charges.
Leave each other alone. You promised to drop the charges, okay? I know y'all didn't get to finish the fight, but drop the charges, stay away. Can y'all do that? Seriously, if she drops the charges, do you agree that you and your family leave her alone?
While Wilmore has ran Streetbeefs behind his home, known as Satan's backyard, he is not an advocate for the court, nor an attorney or judge. But even as one of the women showed Wilmore her injured finger, the Streetbeefs owner encouraged the woman to continue the fight.
Okay, this is it.
Okay,
I know.
My finger though, because that's purple.
I mean, my advice, we're going to run this for one more minute.
Got my fucking
Okay.
Hey, that's it. That's it.
Okay,
that's it.
it.
Fucking hair, bitch.
That's it.
Okay.
That's it. Okay.
That's when Wilmore ended the fight.
All right, ladies.
We are not using the names of the women fighting. We do not know if the charges were dropped following the fight. What we do know is MMA and UFC rules, guidelines dictate numerous ways a fight can end. When one of the fighters is injured, a technical knockout, a submission tap out, or by judge's decision. Allegedly, Streetbeefs is not a part of the MMA or the UFC Fight Club organization. According to Slickster magazine, Streetbeefs is an underground fight club. Efforts to reach Wilmore for comment were unsuccessful. Still, Hatter says he's living with an injury he could have avoided if he had not participated in his last Streetbeefs fight.
He talked me into it, and then he gave me shorts, and I fought barefooted.
Hatter has a warning for all Streetbeefs fighters.
I just feel it's a bunch of bullshit is what it is. It's fake to me. Like he's a scam artist. I'd stay the hell away from it because it ain't nothing but trouble.
In Harrisonburg, Elaine Rackley for Breaking Through.